Wondering how you compare to the average American in terms of wealth? Want to do much better than just average? Looking for information on how to significantly increase your own wealth? Then you have to check out today's video.
He is a best-selling author.
30-year-old Jason Fieber has a plan.
This guy retired at only 33 years old.
I don't know if I know too many people that have accomplished something like that.
He's really kind of a guru when it comes to passive income.
Before I get into today's content, if you want exclusive access to my personal six-figure stock portfolio and alerts on any new investments I make, check out the Patreon link in the description below. I came across an interesting article from CNBC the other day. This article highlighted how much Americans have in their 401ks. And they broke that information down by age groups so you can really dial into the numbers and see how you compare. Now, let me be clear about something. I don't think comparison is super healthy. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, comparison is the thief of joy. However, it is interesting to see what the numbers look like. More importantly, you can use this information to motivate yourself to do far better than average. In fact, I think there are two important lessons to learn and implement in your own life to make sure that you do far better than average. Today, I want to tell you about average 401k balances and how you can do much better than average. Ready? Let's dig in. So CNBC recently ran a report titled, "Here's How Much Americans Have in Their 401ks at Every Age." CNBC got their information from Fidelity. That's a pretty good source. Fidelity is the largest 401k provider in the United States, managing over $2 trillion in assets. They should have some pretty good insight into this. First, let's break down the difference between median and average. I'll be using the median numbers, as CNBC puts it, and I quote, "Median account balance is considered a more accurate representation of what most people have actually saved for retirement," unquote. I totally agree with that. See, the average is calculated by adding a group of numbers and then dividing by the count of those numbers. The issue with that is one big outlier can throw the average way off. If 20 people are in a restaurant and Jeff Bezos walks in, the average net worth of people in the restaurant gets inaccurately skewed by Bezos. The median, however, is the middle data point in an ordered list. Going back to the restaurant example, you'd list in order the 21 people by net worth, lowest to highest, and use the 11th person in the list as the median. The median 401k balances are honestly a bit shocking. Those in the Gen Z cohort have a median 401k balance of $2,500, millennials $15,500, Gen X $44,000, boomers $61,200. The boomer generation is the highest, but that's not a surprise. Boomers are the oldest generation on the list, which means they've had the most time to save, invest, and take advantage of compounding. But the youngest boomers are 59 years old, and a median retirement account balance of $61,200 is simply not very much money to carry you through a retirement. That's how things break down by age. What about all Americans? Well, per this report, the median 401k balance for all Americans is $23,700. That is really low. Now, I'm not saying these figures are the end-all be-all. Workers could have more than one 401k account, such as orphaned accounts from old jobs. I'm not able to tell if that kind of information is factored in here. Also, some people just don't have a 401k. Maybe they invest in totally different accounts. For example, I don't have a 401k at all, so I'm a big fat zero there. Yet I'm 41 years old and my taxable brokerage accounts add up to way more than what we're talking about here. That said, according to the US Federal Reserve, the median net worth of all Americans as of 2019 is $121,700 $160, and that includes everything. So unfortunately, I think Fidelity is on the ball here. What does this tell us? It tells us that Americans are not good at saving money in general. Consumerism, perhaps to the point of excess, is rife in the United States. People like instant gratification. The stats verify this. According to Federal Reserve economic data from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the personal savings rate for Americans is below 5%. And this isn't an income thing either. According to a different CNBC report, the percentage of six-figure earners living paycheck to paycheck recently rose from 42% to 49% year on year. That would imply that half of those making $100,000 or more aren't saving any money at all, which is staggering. You can never out-earn your wants. Even the United States as a country is running on debt. No amount of money is ever enough if your wants are insatiable. Having more does not keep you from wanting more. And if you're always wanting more, you will never have enough. You have to decide what's enough, which will mean prioritizing needs over wants, time over money, and freedom over stuff. For me, there's nothing I'd rather own more than my own time, and there's no luxury more impressive than complete freedom over one's life. So, how can you do much better than average? Well, I have two important lessons to share with you. Keep in mind, this is coming from a guy who went from below broke at age 27 to financially free at 33. For most of my 20s, I lived beyond my means. The wake-up call for me came in my late 20s when I realized that my net worth, which was nearly negative $30,000 at the time, meant that I was worth less than a baby. I was born into the world with a net worth of $0, no assets, no debts, and yet, nearly 30 years into my life, I was worth less than I was at birth when I couldn't talk or walk. That is sad. I'm now 41 years old, managing a large equity portfolio and financially independent. Here are two lessons I learned which helped me to turn it all around and can help you to do far better than average. First, live below your means. It's impossible to build wealth if you're not living below your means. I don't mean that figuratively, I mean that literally. It's math. I don't care if you're earning $1 million per year. If you're spending more than $1 million per year at that income level, you're broke. Likewise, earning $50,000 per year and spending only half of it, $25,000 per year, will allow you to build wealth over time. You must live below your means. Aim for at least a 20% savings rate, but the higher, the better. My tip: focus on the big three. I refer to housing, food, and transportation as the big three because these three spending categories account for the vast majority of the average American's monthly spending. With housing, downsize. Do you really need 2,000 or 3,000 square feet of space? No. With food, more eating at home. Do you really need to eat out at restaurants and pay someone to cook your food and wash your dishes? No. With transportation, buy used, reliable vehicles. Do you really need a brand new BMW to get you from one point to another? No. I'm not just talking the talk, I personally walk the walk. I'm shooting this video from a 375 square foot apartment. With food, okay, you got me, I do eat out a lot, but that's only because I live in Thailand and cheap markets where I can get a meal for less than $3 are plentiful here. When I lived in the States, I almost never ate at restaurants. Car? What's a car? I don't own a car. I sold my car back in 2011, and I've spent most of the last 12 years living a car-free lifestyle. This choice alone has allowed me to save and invest tens of thousands of dollars. And that brings me to the second lesson. The second lesson is this: intelligently invest your savings for the long term. It's not good enough to just live well below your means. Look, I'm living on about 20% of my after-tax income. That puts my net savings rate at approximately 80%. That's more than 16 times higher than the average American. And this is despite not earning a super high income. It's just that I'm very good at keeping costs low. However, even with that, I can't just put that money in the bank. It's imperative to take advantage of the power of compounding. Albert Einstein referred to compounding as the eighth wonder of the world. It's interest on top of interest. In my view, the best way to take advantage of compounding is by using the dividend growth investing strategy. This is a strategy whereby you buy and hold shares in world-class businesses that pay reliable rising dividends to their shareholders. These are the companies that figuratively make the world go round. We're talking about the companies that make your toothpaste, your food, your beverages, your medicine, your electronics, etc. We can't live without these products and or services, so why not directly profit from all of it? High quality dividend growth stocks are wealth and passive income building machines. The US stock market is good, but high quality dividend growth stocks are often better. Why? According to research by Hartford Funds and Morningstar, and I quote, going back to 1960, 69% of the total return of the S&P 500 index can be attributed to reinvested dividends and the power of compounding. Not only that, but according to data from Hartford Funds and Ned Davis Research, dividend growers and initiators have trounced both the S&P 500 and dividend non-payers going back to 1973. Dividend growth investing tends to filter you right into some of the world's very best businesses. A growing dividend acts as a pretty good initial litmus test of business quality. Think about it. In order to pay out a reliably increasing dividend, a company has to produce reliably increasing profit, and reliably increasing profit only materializes when a company is selling ever more of the products and or services the world demands. You cannot run a terrible, money-losing business while simultaneously paying out ever more cash to shareholders for years on end. It just doesn't work. The dividend cannot be afforded and sustained without the underlying profit there to support it. High quality dividend growth stocks are like the golden geese laying ever more golden eggs. If you have a bunch of golden geese popping out ever more golden eggs for you, why would you ever slaughter these geese? Indeed, why sell off assets in order to fund a lifestyle when you could just live off of the growing dividends that are produced by the assets? When selling off assets, you run the risk of running out of money. Why take that risk when you just don't have to? My dividend income is currently far higher than my spending, and this dividend income is rising faster than my spending. This creates a runaway snowball, increasingly growing the gap between passive income and expenses. You can do a lot better than average. I'll paraphrase Sir John Templeton. If you do like everyone else, you'll have the same results as everyone else. If you want to be far better than average, you have to live, save, and invest far better than average. You have to think and live differently. Have you ever heard of the person who lived well below their means, invested their capital intelligently for the long term, and ended up broke at the end of it all? Right, me neither. Take action today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Give us a like if you did, and let us know in the comments what you think about these average 401k balances by age. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on new content. Also take a look at the description box below for some important links, including a link to my personal stock portfolio. This six-figure portfolio, which I call the Fire Fund, generates enough passive dividend income for me to live off of. It allowed me to retire in my early 30s. I made my portfolio entirely accessible over a Patreon, and I also post alerts there whenever I buy or sell stock. I put my money where my mouth is, and am often invested in the same high quality dividend growth stocks that I make videos on. Over the years, I've heard from thousands of investors who've been profiting from many of the same exact stocks that I own. So if you think this is something that you could benefit from as well, check the link in the description to see my portfolio and start getting my buy and sell alerts. I'll see you next time.